The quarterfinals of the college football playoffs will wrap up with Notre Dame, Georgia. That just feels like a Sugar Bowl. He's Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports and 24/7 Sports. It is in the Sugar Bowl, Brandon, and it feels like that's where that game belongs. If you're not going to play it on campus, it probably needs to be in New Orleans.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. I'm actually going to this one to cover it. I'm glad I am. It's good. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Incredible defenses going against each other. And really, Notre Dame really being one of the hottest teams in the country ever since that Week 2 loss in Northern Illinois. I can't wait to see how these two teams match up out there.
Yeah, there's no Herschel Walker for Georgia anymore, but Jeremiah Love it looks the part for Notre Dame. He had the one big 98-yard run in the win against Indiana, and then they didn't really use him a lot. He's still trying to get healthy. What's Love's impact against that Georgia SEC defense?
He has scored in every single game this season, and he's got to score again to beat Georgia. He is the focal point of that offense. We all talk about Riley Leonard, how he can extend plays and all this, and maybe he's not a great passer, but he's able to extend plays. But the key for them is Jeremiah Love. He's got to score. They've got to give him the ball 20, 25 times if they can in this game to be able to win. That's the big key for Notre Dame. Also, we'll talk about the defenses, but if Jeremiah Love is slowed down in this game, Georgia's going to win it.
You say defenses, and if I describe Notre Dame, tell me this doesn't sound just like a Kirby Smart Georgia team. You got a quarterback that's good enough to win your games. He's not going to put you in bad spots. He might be labeled a game manager by some, right? You've got a power run game that is also explosive. You play very solid defense with a defensive-minded head coach. I mean, Notre Dame is doing what Georgia has always done.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. They look like mirror images of each other quite a bit, especially with Georgia now having to rely on their backup, likely a quarterback in Gunner Stockton. We don't quite know what to expect there, except for him maybe to be a game manager for them. What strikes me going into this game is just that Notre Dame loses their best interior defender, Riley Mills, with a knee injury he suffered in the first round against Indiana. He's not going to be able to play in this game. He's going to be out for the playoffs. Leads the team in tackles for loss with 7.5 or 8.5 this season. And to me, even before that injury, going into it, I thought this game was going to be decided by which team had the better interior defense. Defensive tackles and also those linebackers. And, man, that is a gigantic loss for Notre Dame. And so right now I'm giving the slight edge to Georgia just because of that one key injury. As much as everybody's going to talk about Georgia being without their quarterback, I think the biggest thing here, the biggest loss, is Riley Mills, the defensive tackle for Notre Dame.
Georgia seems to be limited at some skill positions. So without Carson Beck, does quarterback run become more important for Georgia with Gunner Stockton?
I think so, and Gunner can run, and we've seen it. I think they will run him in this game and try to do some different things there for them. And, you know, for that matter, Georgia has not shied away from the quarterback run even beforehand, before the injury. But with Gunner now in there, they're going to have to take some of the pressure off of him by allowing him to run, and so that they can open some things up in the passing game. Because as you mentioned, they just don't have the kind of skill guys you need on the outside that we're accustomed to seeing over the last few years from Georgia.
It'll be a late night in New Orleans. Brandon will be there at B. Marcello on social media to follow all that he does there for CBS Sports and 24/7 Sports. Notre Dame and Georgia to advance to the semifinals in the Sugar Bowl coming up New Year's night in New Orleans.